Hi, this is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something which is happening very close to me of where I live here in Hanoi, Vietnam. And it's basically that Vietnam is building a new opera house. Now, if anyone has been here to Hanoi, you would know that in the downtown part of Hanoi is a very lovely old opera house. And I've written about this opera house and maybe even talked about it before. It's a lovely old opera house, which is an exact replica of an opera house in Paris. And the opera house was never bombed during what is known here as the American War or the United States of Vietnam War, because America never bombed the downtown of Hanoi. And one of the reasons why they never did is because they were afraid that if the bombs missed, that it would bomb the prison where a lot of the American servicemen were staying for so many years in the famous prison, which is known as in America as Hanoi Hilton. For those of us that are living now in Westlake or the Tay Ho area, there's a lot of transformations taking place. There's a lot of roads that are widening. There's apartments being built and other things like that. It's an area which is very fast changing, which I have a mixed feeling about it, because one of the things that I've always loved so much about Vietnam is sort of like the quaintness of it, but you understand that progress does happen and progress is going to happen. But at the same time, you worry that the area is going to change a lot and we'll lose the whole little quaintness that we had before. But change happens and we have to be able to live with change. Hanoi has decided to build a opera house, which is going to definitely change the landscape of the Westlake area. Now, those of you who don't know, Westlake is a lake which to ride around it is about over just 10 miles. This is U.S. miles, so it's quite a big lake. And it's quite a well-known area here. A lot of restaurants along the lake. It's an area where people bicycle a lot. They walk a lot. There's some nice houses there and other things. It's a nice area. I don't live too far from Westlake myself, and there can be sometimes a very nice breeze that comes off the lake. Hanoi is one of the few cities in the world that has, I believe it's something like 5 or 6 lakes in their city. So they actually have a city that was built around these lakes. So Westlake area, which is Tay Ho, and our area recently got changed to Hong Ha. For some reason, the government has changed the names of the area. Don't ask me why. Nobody seems to know why, but it's changed. But it's still the Westlake area. It's very much a beautiful area. So they've decided to build this opera house on the Westlake. And this opera house, from what I understand, will go out onto the lake area. It's going to stand as a project of immense culture and architectural significance for Hanoi. So even though Hanoi has these theaters and has these opera houses, the French Opera House, which is downtown, as you can imagine, was built in the late 1800s. So it still has a lot of the feel of the 1800s. It's an opera house which has not been updated. It's not very large. It doesn't have all of the really good equipment, the acoustics, like the opera houses would have today. So that's why the Hanoi's People's Committees decided to build an opera house that will have an estimated social investment of about 10 trillion dong, which is about $394 million, which is a massive investment for the city. Unlike the other opera houses, which are older, as I've said, this will be a modern type of opera house. And it will be really an opera house that will be suitable for hosting world-class performances, operas, music, symphony, concerts, and other things. Right, Vietnam now does have the one downtown, but it's not really world-class. And this will hopefully, Hanoi wants to kind of put itself on the map as being a place which can bring in some top talent and top names and have some world-class entertainment going on in the city. So expect to see some really world-class performances taking place here. The interesting part of this, like I said, this will be sort of out onto the lake area. And it was done by an Italian architect by the name of Renzo Piano. And Renzo Piano now is 87 years old, and he's a legend in the world of architecture with a career that spans 65 years. He's done the, George Pompidou Museum in Paris, the Shard in London, the Kansai International Airport in Osaka, the Whitney Museum of American Arts in New York City, the Istanbul Museum of Modern Art, and several things in Athens and other parts of Europe. So, each of these projects that he's done showcase his sort of like his ability to create space that's unique and that's highly functional but deeply connected to their surroundings. So the Hanoi Opera House, he's drawn an inspiration from the natural beauty of the West Lake. So the dome of the Opera House, it's kind of like it's got this dome to it. It's designed to resemble waves of west of the lake, creating a visual connection between the building and the environment. And the design, reflects sort of his philosophy of integrating architects with nature as a hallmark of his work. So the design's been inspired by Westlake, and it's got this dome that'll have the waves. But one of the interesting part of it is the materials they use should change according to the sunlight. So it's going to reflect different hues of warm tones and dawn and cool shades of dusk and simmering glows. And it'll have the ever-changing, appearance, ensures the opera house will be a living, breathing, part of the environment, constantly reflecting the beauty of Westlake. It's a design that will pay homage to Hanoi's cultural heritage, but also embrace the fact that this is this modern city. This is a city that, even though it's got a lot of older parts, it's a city which is going to be growing. There's going to be a lot of cutting-edge technology within the Opera House itself. It's going to be state-of-the-art interiors. A massive auditorium will be equipped with systems and mechanically acoustic panels, features that are rarely found in theaters worldwide. It's going to have panels to reflect sound and absorb and vibration and time. So, this will be quite an experience to be able to go into this opera house, to go to some performances, and to be able to see this going to be basically be this very high-tech, world-class opera house here in Vietnam. And it's going to be able to be opera, symphony, theater productions. So it'll be a unique experience for both performers and audiences. And there'll be a lot of international orchestras coming here, I'm sure, and that there will be sort of be a magnet for top tier talent from around the world. And I really think that's what Hanoi wants. They want this to sort of become the cultural landmark of Hanoi. That to be not just a building but also a statement of Hanoi's culture and architectural ambitions. Also maybe to say a little bit like, Vietnam's arrived. Hanoi, the city, has arrived. That it's ready to take its place on the global stage and to become a global player. So for those of us, that are living in Hanoi, this will be a source, of course, of pride. Even though it's a bit of a source of frustration now because there's a lot of building going on with the Opera House itself. There's a lot of traffic disruptions, there's noise, there's other things. But at the same time, we're going to witness firsthand this transformation of the city that's going to change with this magnificent structure that's going to be able to bring in some of the world-class talent of Hanoi and Vietnam. And that, Westlake, it's going to change Westlake. It's going to, of course, make Westlake become a more of a luxury fashion place with luxury hotels and modern residential developments. It's going to mean that it's going to become a vibrant and dynamic part of Hanoi as it is already, but I expect to see it even grow even further. So whether you're a resident, you're a visitor, you're an artist, the new Hanoi Opera House is sure to be have a lasting impression. If you're curious to see what the Opera House is going to look like and would like to be able to read more about it, we've written a blog post on it entitled The New Hanoi Opera House, a cultural marvel rising in Tay Ho. And you will be able to read more about it and be able to understand more about the Opera House. And by the way, the word Tay Ho means Westlake in Vietnamese. So basically, it's a cultural opera house rising in Westlake, or on the Westlake there, which literally it will be rising on the Westlake. It's going to be built out onto Westlake itself. This is Anita from the Dusty Roads podcast, and we'll put a link for our blog in the description so that you can see a bit more about this opera house. And we hope that you'll join with us, that you'll subscribe, give us a thumbs up, that you'll become part of our community. It's amazing how many people they either watch or listen, and they watch and listen maybe many times, but they don't subscribe. So we hope you won't be one of those, that you'll be a subscriber, because we'd love to have you subscribe and be part of our community. Thank you.